What was the most ridiculous thing you got in trouble for at school? Algebra teacher yelled at me for asking for help. He told me don't ask me. Ask your partner first. Then I turned around and asked my partner for help. He then yelled me at again, don't ask her. If you need help, ask me. This just confuses me. What was even going through that teacher's head? An overwhelming amount of nothing. Was he high? Reading a book. Apparently the head of history found me sitting on a bench reading across from her office window, intimidating. Oh. This reminds me that I got in trouble for holding a book. It was a book for adults, so that's probably why I got in trouble. But still, I was upset. I finally started to like books and they said not today. The book wasn't even inappropriate. What book was it? Filing Taxes for Dummies. In 3rd grade I got 10% taken off one of my tests for spelling my name wrong. When I went to go tell the teacher I knew how to spell my name, she sent me to the principal for smarting off. Yeah, I know how to spell my own name. This happened to me too. My parents wanted my name to be unique and went with an extremely uncommon spelling on top of a rare name. I didn't get sent to the principal, but my 1st grade teacher called a parent-teacher conference to impress upon my parents that I refused to spell my name correctly and I had a ratty attitude. Because I 100% knew my name's spelling and I loved it. And I was frustrated with this dumb witch of a teacher who seemed to hate me for some reason. My mum was furious and chewed my teacher out for making her leave work early for something so stupid. Shockingly, that incident did not make my teacher like me more. The correct spelling could be found on the class list. No. That teacher must be an absolute imbecile, and I think the reason this can happen to some teachers is that they think too highly of themselves and that they can't be wrong. It's true that power corrupts people. It was PJ day. We were washing our hands for lunch. I accidentally got a little water on another kid's sleeve. Teacher flips out how I ruined the kid's expensive pajamas. The kid didn't even care. Did she think they were dry clean only pajamas? Whatever the case, it made waves. Complete opposite of my school. In grade 1, there was a day where everyone brought in their favorite stuffed animal. The teachers warned us not to bring valuable ones, because there was a chance they could get damaged. I brought my favorite stuffed animal. The teacher's daughter and a boy in my class completely destroyed it, ripped it, cut it up, colored on it. I went to the teacher and told on them. They got absolutely no punishment for destroying my stuffed animal. The teacher reprimanded me for tattling and told me that I shouldn't have brought a stuffed animal that I cared about, since there was a risk of it getting damaged. Most of the teachers in the school were really awesome, but that one was decidedly not. I didn't get along well with her daughter, and she always took her daughter's side. Oh my god, did we go to the same school? I had the exact same thing happen to me. I brought my beloved sheepy, my favorite stuffed little sheep, into school one day and left him on my desk for maybe 3 minutes to go grab some art supplies for the craft we were doing. This absolute dong in my class poured an entire bottle of Elmer's glue on my sheep. He was completely ruined and it wouldn't come off in the wash. There was only one kid in our class who ever behaved that way and who was a constant bully. I knew he did it, but the teacher refused to punish him or even ask who did it. Just told me too bad so sad basically. I bawled and had to retire my favorite stuffed animal. As someone who's 19 years old and still knows where their favorite stuffed animal from childhood is and what condition it's in, both of these stories gave me the deepest sinking feeling. I felt that. Washing my hands wrong. My kindergarten teacher didn't like that I flicked excess water off my hands before reaching for the soap. She kept me there for a while until she finally gave up on me. Psycho. My pre-K teacher yelled at me for yawning after waking up from nap hour. She said sleep isn't supposed to make you yawn. She dumb. I doodled on my jeans in 10th grade and the assistant principal literally pulled me out of class and called my aunt to come get me. When she got there, he just started going off and pointing to me with "Look at what she did." My aunt just rolled her eyes and said she's 15. I don't know what you expected. Oh man, I forgot about art jeans. I had a pair that me and all my friends drew all over in Sharpie and pens. They were awesome. I wore them until they literally fell apart. I saw Dust Devil for the first time and said what the? I got in trouble for it. The teacher said you could have said a bad word. But I didn't. Get over it. I Wolder say okay then frick you. I was in kindergarten. Wolder added to the shock factor mayo. Needing to use the restroom. Some teachers are straight crazy. Can I go to the bathroom? May I go to the bathroom? No, because I want to go. There was a teacher that picked on this boy because he couldn't speak proper English, and she would always say it's May when he asked to go to the restroom. She did this on the 30th of April and one of my friends said actually it's still April. I loved it. Yep. In 3rd grade, my teacher furiously grabbed my water bottle and confiscated it so I wouldn't drink any more water. It's so I won't need to go to the bathroom because I've already gone twice that day. I felt like I was in such big trouble. I was too embarrassed to tell my parents. In 2nd grade I was restricted from going to the water fountain. That was literally inside the classroom. I didn't go to the bathroom too frequently and I caused zero disruptions. When my mum noticed I would get home and chug water every day, she talked to the teacher and then I could drink as much as I wanted. I still don't know what the frick was up with that. Not putting my jacket and backpack in my locker. All of my classes were on the 1st floor and one end of the building. My assigned locker was on the 2nd floor and in the furthest corner from my classes. The administrators refused to move my locker. So pretty much every day this one teacher would write me up and I got a couple in school suspension for it. Finally after a few meetings I got the principal involved and she essentially told the teacher to leave me alone. My school only had lockers for pay. We were assigned alphabetically and I was the last on my locker row. So I 100% knew no one was below, next to me, which meant the big locker would always be vacant unless I was using it. The system was arranged so that everyone used small lockers for gym clothes, deodorant until their pay period, when they'd use the big locker next to their small one for their backpacks or whatever. So I just always kept my stuff in the big locker, which only I was ever going to use. Got found out, had to spend 4 hours in detention on a Saturday and had a referral on my record, which was like a step or two away from suspension. For rolling my eyes. Teacher shouted at me in front of the whole class. I didn't roll my eyes. My cousin is a goof and while his face is nicely proportioned, his eyes are a little large and he has very expressive eyebrows. His teacher once called my aunt to complain about the faces he makes at her. My aunt's response was don't look at him. We had a girls' entrance and a boys' entrance at my secondary modern school, UK, in 1972. I was 12 and proud of the result of my first visit to a proper grown-up hairdresser's, what we now call a mullet, but back then was known as a feather cut and was extremely fashionable for both boys and girls at the time. I was in the crowd going through the door when a teacher roared, "You boy, what do you think you're doing?" Being very much a girl, I didn't take any notice until I felt the hand of impending doom on my shoulder. It was my own form teacher who didn't recognize me without my waist-length ponytail. What is the point of gendered entrances? Girls have cuties. Serious answer. Training compliance. Pretty much every dumb rule in school is about training kids to be compliant. The dumber the better. Because the idea is that the word of authority should be the highest principle, not logic. 2 things. Getting bullied and trying to get help from staff. And yelling at a guest teacher because they wouldn't let me go to the bathroom, so I announced to the class that I was bleeding from my pee-pee. One of my classmates wanted to go to the bathroom, but she ran out of passes. We have these things that limit how many times you can leave the classroom per semester. Around like 10 times I think. The office calling for you and stuff like that doesn't count. So, she just told the teacher she was bleeding through and was so freaking proud of herself when she came back. It took me a minute to realize what she was talking about. Saying hi to the vice principal. I had the same thing happen to me except I wasn't one of the students. She popped up with some crazy excuse that, because another teacher had done something, I needed to watch myself. This was my 3rd day on the job. You can bet I didn't talk to that crazy H ever again. One guy at my school was expelled on his last day as a senior when he said hi to one of the vice principals. Well, he didn't really say hi. He dropped his pants and told her to suck it. Yes, He was drunk. I got detention for holding hands with my boyfriend in the hallway. I was 13 man. I also got sent to the principal's office because in 11th grade for reading too fast. It was that itch of a substitute teacher, Pam. Everyone hated Pam. She had a gross, wet, moist cough all the time. She sent kids to the office for literally anything. Frick you, Pam. I finished my exam within 15 minutes, but got scolded for not taking it seriously, then told me to actually use my brain until the time runs out, so I went back to my seat and sleep for 80 minutes. The day after the result is out and I got an almost perfect score. Also one time I dated the principal's only daughter. Had similar. Ohio had proficiency tests week. One subject a day. That was at a supposed 9th grade level, which you had to pass all of or else you could not graduate your senior year. They started the tests in 8th grade. Once you passed a subject you did not have to take the test again. In 8th grade, when we were given the tests, I finished in half the time. Then since we could not leave, handed it in, then took out video game magazines to read. My homeroom teacher hated that. She eventually called my mum midweek and my mum was pissed thinking I was not trying. Out of hundreds of kids in my 8th grade class in that school, only 2 passed all the 9th grade proficiency tests. I was one of them. This also allowed me, since they did the tests twice a year from 9th grade to 12th, to come in very late for half school days.